So, we are big fans of Shane Meadows. I'm speaking for Sean, like I'm being presumptuous. I'm guessing that you are. I'm a big fan as well. But yeah, Dead Man's Shoes, his, one of his early pieces, cinema pieces, is back for screenings in the cinema. And that includes 35mm screenings as well, so you can see it on the big screen. I guess that's, how it was intended. Let's review it. My name is Phil. That is Sean. We are Boys on Film. Thank you very much for being here. Before we started recording, you were telling me that you watched this in Madrid, which is probably not, the right...
I was like, it's just another classic example of me going, I should really watch this film. And I found myself in Madrid recently in a quite weird, spooky room on my own, and I was like, I know what, I'm going to watch Dead Man's Shoes. And so I don't know whether it enhanced the viewing experience.
I think it probably made you appreciate life.
I did turn it off to thinking, WTF, what the hell am I doing? And yeah, it was a funny place to watch it. I kind of wish I'd watched it in like a ballpark. But no, I watched it in a dodgy place.
When I got the press release, I thought, oh yeah, I really want to see that, thinking I hadn't seen it. I do remember it. As soon as I started watching it, I did remember seeing it the first time round. And I remember the first time I saw it, I was really shocked. I was still shocked this time round. It was kind of interesting to see how it's aged.
The story really follows Richard. Richard is a guy who's in the army. He returns to his town, following an incident with his brother, Anthony. God, I've been hanging out with Americans. Anthony. No, Anthony. And it really follows their relationship as brothers, and also Anthony's backstory while Richard was away in the army, and what follows and pursues from that.
So, presumably you were a fan of Shane Meadows' other stuff. I mean, he did a TV drama not so long ago, a few years ago, which was really good. It featured the guy from Boiling Point. What was that guy's name?
He did This Is England 1984.
Yes. How good was that series? And the movie, obviously, but the series was great as well.
With an incredible cast. Yeah, it's got Stephen Graham in it.
Stephen Graham.
Amongst other major mega things. I have seen this film before, and again, like you, I was like, I kind of airbrushed over quite a lot of it, and it did still shock me, and maybe that's age, maybe I'm more sensitive, maybe it's the injustice, but it did actually still have the ability to shock me, even though I knew the story arc.
So I think if you're familiar with Shane Meadows' work, you'll know that his work is quite gritty. I mean, in a lot of ways, very similar, I think, to Mike Leigh, although not completely the same, but showing the grittiness, the rawness of life, and how, people are affected by the downside of life, and, how it affects him in a bad way. But I think it does show powerful people. His work does show powerful people, but also he doesn't shy away from showing violence. He doesn't shy away from, I don't know, I suppose the horrors of humanity, the horrors, that people can inflict on others. And that's what you get in this. And there's always a sense of foreboding. There's a sense of something bad is going to happen, even though something doesn't necessarily happen within that act. It's like you just know that something is rumbling away there.
Yeah, that's true. And I think he's very proud of his heritage, but he's also very good at showing the raw edge of that. So, the elements of Nottinghamshire, East Midlands, are not so far away from my hometown in South Yorkshire. So a lot of the way that it's presented resonates a lot with me. I think about Dead Man's Shoes. I think about Once Upon a Time in the Midlands. There's something about that does actually really speak to me, and I think has a real rawness and honesty to it. And as I say, when I watched this, it still shocked me. I think it's incredibly raw, and I think the way it's been filmed is incredibly raw, but I think that adds to its potency. And I'm absolutely amazed. The thing that really amazed me was Toby Kebbell, who has gone on to do absolutely incredible things off the back of him playing Anthony, because he's recently been in The Servant on Apple TV.
Oh,
apparently, yeah, he's Sean, the husband and chef in The Servant. I think urban folklore is that Woody Allen hired him without audition, based off the back of his character.
I watched The Servant. I haven't watched the recent series, but I didn't have a clue that was him.
Yeah, that's him.
Wow.
And so, it's quite incredible what Toby Kebbell's done. He's an incredible actor. and has this kind of brilliant story arc.
This is about Richard obviously protecting his younger brother, but his younger brother gets involved with the gangs, and that's another common thread, isn't it, between Shane Meadows, where it's often, within the story there's gangs and good people getting involved with bad people and the effect that bad people have on those good people. So it's similar, I mean, the story obviously is different, but it is about family, isn't it? It's about protecting family and your loved ones. And that, I think, is the real horror. Because when you see, you members of your family getting involved or being mistreated, you do feel that kind of revenge, don't you? That the revenge that Richard is feeling.
Yeah, and I guess you do, and then what you have is Richard, who's now been equipped, having been in the army, to in some ways enact divine retribution, because he now has the ability to do so. He's completely not fazed by this gang at all. He's completely almost like fearless, and that's part of what why he's been away in the army and what he's been trained to do. And I think that comes across in a pretty thick way as you watch through the story.
Definitely, and it does make you ask questions. It makes you ask yourself whether you would behave in the same way, and obviously there's a fine line, isn't there? I think there's a very fine line with whether you step over that line, and of course most people would say they wouldn't, but how do you know if you're not in that situation? So I think it does, it makes you ask a lot of questions. I mean, the thoughts of watching it the second time round, I mean, I mentioned about the effects on screen. A lot of the flashbacks are shown in black and white, and they have that kind of like old film thing, with the crackles on, and the flickers on the screen. I could have done without that, seeing it a second time. I think that's the part that hasn't aged well, but that's just, that's cosmetic.
So it's more about the treatment.
Yeah. It's not about the actual, performance, the direction or anything like that. It's just the way it looks, which I guess is a small gripe, but I think that is what has made it not age that well. Nothing else.
Yeah, I think I get that. I think I probably... Did I give that... I think I probably danced over that, if I'm really honest, Phil. I think it's a really fair call-out. I think what will interest you is Emily Aston, who is in this film, was also in Chuck Chuck Baby, that we just recently reviewed. Lynn in Chuck Chuck Baby. She's obviously the one of the key characters here in this film. But I think it has... Shane Meadows has a real ability to find talent and to propel them. If you look at some of the cast that's in this film who have gone on to greatness, it's actually very, very impressive.
Wasn't Shane Meadows the executive producer of Charity Shop Sue as well?
It wouldn't surprise me.
I think it was.
It's absolutely comical, given the nature of Charity Shop Sue. But if you think about it, like Gary Stretch went on to do amazing things. Stuart Wolfenden went on to EastEnders. Jo Hartley, she went on to be, that film with Taron Egerton about. She's done all sorts of stuff. And then you've obviously got Emily Aston, who played Patty in this. The list goes on as you go through that list of actors. And I think he does have real ability because of the grittiness and the expectation that he has of his actors to be able to pull off some of these, some of the roles that he's expecting of them.
It's a tough watch, isn't it? I should say, for people that hadn't seen it, it's a tough watch.
Oh, it's a really tough watch.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It is brilliant, though.
Yeah. I'm sat between stars again. First time 4, second time 3, just because of the way it's aged. But I still think it's powerful.
I think I'm first time 5, second time 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it's incredibly powerful, this movie. And yes, has it aged well? Some components are a bit crusty around the edges, but I still think it's a pretty compelling watch. And it's something that absolutely stays with you, even when you are in a spooky hotel room in Madrid. It absolutely does stay with you.
I do love Shane Meadows' work there. I mean, it was The Virtues TV show that I was trying to think of earlier, which was just brilliant. Stephen Graham in that. And The Gallows Pole as well. I haven't actually seen that yet, but that was more recently. Yeah,
it's great. I mean, I think everyone should watch it the second time around. Maybe for some people it's their first time and you'll, get into it. It is just... I think at times it's a very hard watch.
Yeah, 4. It's got to be a 4. Yeah, because the impact it had on me, I can't give it 3. 3's just, it doesn't justify 3 stars.
think that's deeply unfair.
For the first time ever, I'm changing my score. Groundbreaking.
More for me. And groundbreaking for you to change your score.
So let us know if you've seen it. Presumably many of you have, because obviously it's an older film, but it's Dead Man's Shoes. It's in cinemas right now, so go and see it. And it is certificate 18, obviously. We never mention certificates, but obviously it's an adult watch. It's a very mature watch. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Sean, as always. See you on the next one. Bye for now. Don't have nightmares.